Hey folks, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, be sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating. All right, folks, let's start off with some Clarity Act news. Senator Ron Wyden, who is a Democrat out of Oregon, is asking Senate leaders to preserve the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act as passed by the Senate Banking Committee in any version of the Clarity Act brought to the floor. So, as a reminder, the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act handles DeFi, and we know a lot of the banks have been fighting against DeFi, and that's been one of the roadblocks, right? In addition to ethics, in addition to the banks don't not liking stablecoin yield. So Eleanor Terrett reported that it comes amid uncertainty over whether certain key law enforcement groups will accept the BRCA language and whether changes will be needed to win their support, as well as votes from other Democratic senators like Senators Catherine Cortez Masto and Mark Warner. So, in a letter to Senators Thune and Chuck Schumer, Wyden says the provision would codify existing federal policy by clarifying that non custodial software developers should not be treated as money transmitters solely for publishing software, while preserving the DOJ's and FinCEN's ability to pursue illicit actors. Wyden was the Democrat co-sponsor of the standalone BRCA legislation in the Senate alongside Senator Lummis, who's of course a Republican. Now, a few takeaways here. First, great to see a top Democrat coming out and supporting this. And he's writing a letter to other Democratic senators saying, hey, let's get together and do this. Obviously, Chuck Schumer being one of the most powerful and well-known Democrat senators. Second, he's supporting the DeFi and non-custodial wallets aspect of this legislation, which, again, the banks don't like, and they have their dog, Elizabeth Warren, trying to block it, right? This is their dog on the leash that they're trying to get to attack crypto or has been attacking crypto. In fact, as soon as Ron Wyden put this news out, she released the following tweet. As currently drafted, the Clarity Act is a ticket to sanctions evasion. And she shared some sort of article that says former Iranian director of the NSC says crypto legislation is a ticket to sanctions evasion. This is ridiculous. Crypto legislation will allow all the agencies to come together and to be on the same page and to work with law enforcement to make sure that bad actors are stopped. So she's lying. But this is her MO. Remember, she's getting the big checks from Jamie Dimon and the other banksters who are trying to kill as much of DeFi and other parts of crypto because they want to control it. So the other factor is that it's great timing that this is coming out because Congress, they're going to be back next week, I believe, July 13th. And obviously, things need to move fast because time is of the essence. We have a deadline of August 7th. That's the hard date because after that, Congress, they're gone. They're gone in August recess, and nothing is going to get done in September because the midterms are coming up. So a lot of people are going to be gearing up for that. And there's going to be a lot of mudslinging, as you can imagine. So really great to see this, guys. A top Democrat coming out and supporting the bill as is and collaborating with Republicans, and obviously the bill made it out of the Senate Banking Committee. It's got to go to the floor. So again, Elizabeth Warren trying to combat this with her lies, but nobody believes her, and she's pretty much by herself because she engages in a lot of hyperbole and outlandish statements. And even though the other Democrats may have their reservations, they're not doing what Elizabeth Warren is doing, thankfully. Now, I want to highlight what user Marty Party on X shared regarding the Clarity Act timeline. Now, this is not from the Senate or any members of Congress, but it's a mock-up of what the timeline could look like based on the hard cutoff date that we have at the beginning of August, plus Congress coming back into office next week. So he says here, July 13th to July 17th, Senate procedural vote and final floor vote on the Clarity Act. July 20th through the 24th, U.S. House will work on finalizing the reconciliation of the Clarity Act with the U.S. Senate. July 27th to August 7th, President Trump can sign the Clarity Act into law. So he's saying by the 17th of July, the Clarity Act would have passed the Senate. But remember, it has to go to the House because the Senate updated the FIT 21 bill when, named it the Clarity Act. So the House will have to pass that. And I don't believe there's going to be any major issues with that. And then once it passes the House, it can go to President Trump for signatures. Now, this is the ideal scenario, right? I would love for this to happen. Fingers crossed, praying that this happens, right? But obviously, nothing's guaranteed here, and we'll have to see how things play out. And hopefully, this happens. Or even if it doesn't happen to the exact weekly timelines that he's given here, it makes it out of the Senate, passes the House, and even if it's after August 7th, President Trump signs it into law, no worries, because it would have passed the major hurdle of the Senate and going back to the House. So, guys, again, fingers crossed. We need this legislation passed. This is really going to help the crypto market. And as I've been saying, you have legislation passing here and across the globe. You got the on-ramps now built for institutional capital. I think that kicks off the super cycle. I'm not saying we're going to pump 100x, 1000x as soon as the Clarity Act is passed. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying it will allow for more innovation and capital as we enter into the bull market phase. And I think we're going to see higher valuations for the blockchains and their respective tokens. Now, across the pond, we are seeing the European Union continue to expand their Mica regulations. That's their version of the Clarity Act, which was passed over a year ago. So officials set to revise the Mica regulations to cover non-EU stablecoin issuers. So they continue to fine tune, because no bill when it's passed is perfect, but you want to continue to add layers to it, addendums, whatever it may be, to cover all the bases. So EU officials reportedly plan to consider changes to the markets in crypto assets framework dubbed as Mica 2.0 in response to a US stablecoin law and rules on tokenized payments and deposits. So again, everybody getting their books in order here. And again, the super cycle, you need this for the super cycle to kick off, and you already have the bridges being set up for the big money. So the revised rules, which authorities will reportedly consider in 2027, were in response to the US government's Genius Act, putting pressure on EU officials to clarify how US stablecoin issuers could be regulated in member states. Officials will also reportedly consider expanding Mica to include rules on tokenized payments and deposits. So notice the competition that's happening here, right? They're looking at what the US is doing with the Genius Act. They're saying, wait a minute, we need to figure out what we're going to do and how do we combat this? Because, they want to make sure that their Euro stable coins are dominating in Europe versus US stable coins, which have actually been doing pretty well. So it's incredible. We got global competition happening here, not to mention competition among the private sector with businesses. So really, really awesome stuff. And, crypto is a global asset class. And here's some more news. Kazakhstan president signs decree to accelerate crypto adoption. So you're seeing the biggest and the smallest countries in the world all getting involved in one way or the other, passing legislation and fully embracing crypto. So Kazakhstan, one of the world's largest Bitcoin mining hubs, is moving to expand its crypto sector as a new decree introduces rules for stablecoin payments, tax breaks for regulated crypto activity, and new energy options for mining. Kazakhstan President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, I absolutely butchered that, so my apologies to my Kazakhstan viewers, has signed a decree aimed at building a regulated digital asset market, the Ministry of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Development announced on Wednesday. Developed jointly with the MAIDD, the Central Bank of Astana International Financial Center, the order is viewed as a tool to increase regulatory clarity for crypto businesses, investors, and digital asset service providers. Guys, do you see what's being built here? Right? And these news items are not making the big headlines on mainstream media, CNN, Fox, whatever, wherever you get your news and things like that, right? So this is where you got to pay attention. You look at what the governments are doing, look at what the big money is doing, right? Watch what they do, not what they say. It's incredible what is being built. Now, moving ahead, Denari and T0 join forces on turnkey platform for tokenized US equities. So the tokenization race continues. We're seeing the infrastructure being built for the tokenization of all assets. And we've talked about it ad nauseum, right? The world running on blockchain rails, capital markets, governments, and economies all running on blockchain rails. So tokenization specialist Denari and broker-dealer T0 are working together to offer broker-dealers a turnkey platform for tokenized US equities as competition intensifies over how public stocks should move onto blockchain networks. The company said Wednesday they will combine Denari's tokenized stock platform with T0's brokerage, custody, clearing, and settlement infrastructure, allowing financial firms to launch blockchain-based equity offerings without assembling the underlying market infrastructure themselves. So essentially, they're building, like they said, the turnkey, right? That you can easily go sign up with them and start tokenizing your assets, right? Versus you have to get all the moving parts and components and figure it all and put it together, right? Versus, hey, just come sign up with us, tell us what the asset is, and here's the blockchains you want to use, here's the custody, here's the settlement, and we do it all for you. Here's a quote: tokenized equities won't reach mainstream adoption until broker dealers can offer them as naturally as they offer traditional securities, Denari CEO Gabriel Oath said in a statement. So the infrastructure for the tokenization of assets is being established, folks. Final news item: BNB Chain is building a new layer one for high frequency trading and AI agents. So in addition to tokenization, we are seeing a lot of blockchains are building infrastructure for the AI agent economy, right? AI agents are going to be a big part of the economy moving forward. Many of you will have AI agents doing things for you, booking your travel, taking care of your household utilities, and more. And in order for these AI agents to do commerce and settle instantly and move as fast as they can and have atomic settlement, you need to have blockchain rails and stablecoins. So every blockchain is trying to, build some sort of infrastructure here, whether it be wallets or different types of platforms to create the AI agents and launch them. So let me give you the details. BNB Chain is developing a new layer one blockchain built for high frequency trading and autonomous agents with a public testnet targeted for the end of 2026 and mainnet planned for early 2027. The chain will run alongside the existing BNB Chain ecosystem rather than replace it. BNB Smart Chain holds roughly $5 billion in total value locked. The goal is to give self-custodied traders execution speeds closer to those of centralized exchanges. The roadmap targets transaction pre-confirmations under 50 milliseconds, throughput above 10,000 transactions per second, and sub-second block finality. Incredible. Incredible, guys. The future is going to be a wild place, right? Obviously, there's going to be pros, but there's cons to that as well. I'm more of an optimist. I try to look at the positive side of things and, could these AI agents and robots free you up, from less decision making, getting things done in a timely manner. So giving you back more time where you can do things to take care of yourself, right? Maybe that's taking care of your health and working out or going spend more time in nature, disconnecting and all those things, right? So there's a pro to that. Obviously, there's a con, but that's life. In any technology, these things, you can't stop them. And we as human beings have to figure it all out. But also individually, you got to figure out the balance in your life. But that's how I'm looking at it. How can I use these AI agents to free me up to take care of things I don't have to think about, and I can go do things that I want. I can go spend more time working out. Again, going for a hike, spending time in nature, and maybe just being able to just sit down and read more, right? Because I have more time. And we'll see how it all works out. And then maybe I have a robot mowing my grass and doing other things so I don't have to do it. But nevertheless, guys, again, the infrastructure being set up for all these things, it's pretty incredible. Folks, be sure to check out our sponsor, iTrustCapital, where you can invest in crypto as well as precious metals in an IRA. And the reason you want to do that is you can get huge tax advantages. So if you sell your assets for a gain, you don't have to pay long-term or short-term capital gains taxes. So you get sheltered from that in the IRA. And if you have an existing 401k or IRA, you can roll it over to iTrustCapital's version. So you can buy and sell over 100 crypto assets plus gold and silver 24/7. It's low cost, no monthly fee. The gold and silver, by the way, guys, is not paper gold or silver. It's the physical assets. So if you want to redeem it at any point, you can absolutely do it. They also have a great custody program called Premium Custody Account. It uses Coinbase Prime and other big institutions. So you're getting institutional level crypto custody. You can sleep at night knowing your assets are safe. BlackRock uses Coinbase Prime, which is what iTrust uses. and you can go in and out 24/7. It's a closed loop system. So if someone hacks into your account, they can't withdraw any funds, and it's low fees. So you got to check it out. iTrustCapital is a great platform. They are audited, they're secure. And folks, I have a contact at iTrustCapital that you can speak to if you have questions. His name is Ryan. His contact information will be in the description. And if you sign up with my link, you can get a $100 funding bonus. So go to itrustcapital.com/go/thinkingcrypto. Link will be in the description. And also, folks, check out my free email newsletter on Substack, 100% free. Be sure to sign up. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. Be sure to grab a copy. And if you want to expand your knowledge around crypto, I have a course at mycryptocourse.com. It's a comprehensive course that teaches you everything you need to know. Right now, we got a huge bear market sale going on. Get 50% off the price of the course by using the code BEAR, BEAR, at checkout. And the link will be in the description as well. So thank you so much for tuning in, folks. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.